What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Rob here with RK Motorsports, and today we are continuing the street legal jet ski build. So in the last episode, I trimmed some more stuff up, got this all situated. We got some more foam taken out of there. And I think the next thing that we need to do is start connecting some of the controls for the scooter. Now, the big thing about this build is because this scooter is going to be recessed underneath this jet ski, I'm not going to be able to get in contact with the stock rear brake, which is that foot brake, because that's going to be sunken down underneath the seat. So what I need to do, you can see I push the foot lever there and it pulls that foot brake there with that brake cable. So what I did is I bought a longer brake cable online that goes all the way back here, and I have some other parts over here too. So here is the longer brake cable. So I'm gonna see if this hopefully fits, fingers crossed, if this fits on there, because this is like a 74-inch brake line, so it's gonna go all the way from the back, and I'm gonna route it up to the handlebar here, and the handlebar is gonna be connected to this lever that I got in the mail. A little stunt easy pull clutch lever. So I'm gonna try and hook that up, mock that up. Also got some headlights, some LED headlights. We'll mock those up, wire those up, and see how bright those are and how those work. And this is like my rear turn signal setup. All right, so I already showed you guys this stunt clutch lever. It's like an easy pull, just real basic clutch lever. And that's gonna be used for our rear brake, which is going to connect to, there we go, this guy. So I'm gonna mock that up in a second. Right here are the LED little bar lights. These are like 6 inches long. I hooked it up to like a 12-volt power supply, and they were actually pretty bright, so we'll see how they mock up on the scooter. Here is like that rear tail little LED bar for the back. All right, now I'm just gonna try and get that rear brake cable off. Wow, that was not even on there that much. There we go. Okay, so the main thing I was concerned about, here's the old brake cable and this is the new one. The main thing I was worried about is, see this little ridge here? That's where there's like a little stopper, and the lengths here are pretty consistent. So I think this is gonna work out. So let's slap it on and see if this fits. All right, so I've got my rear brake cable threaded in back here, routed underneath into that little holder, up through here, and now we have tons of length because this is a really long brake cable. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and like secure it to the frame, bring it up through here, and then next thing I'm gonna do is try and secure that clutch lever slash brake lever that we're gonna be using, and I'm gonna try and mount that onto here and see if we can hook that up. So what I did is I tucked it over here, and it still has some pretty good clearance from being out of the way of like this front fairing. It hits a little bit in the front, but I still have some really good motion of, you know, working that brake cable. But the only thing is I only have this tiny little bit to grab onto. So this is a shorty lever. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna purchase a longer extended lever, and that should bring out that lever over here a little bit more so I can have some better control and should be able to grab that brake a little bit better. So now I'm gonna take this front cover back off, and I'm gonna see if I can get this brake cable routed to the brake lever. All right, so that is all hooked up. We've got some nice tension on the rear brake lever right now. Now I did have to rotate this brake arm forward a little bit. It was kind of sticking out back farther a little bit. So I just had to pull it out, rotate it forward because that threaded part was a little bit short. So I had to get that so it was laying on that threaded rod right there. But now it is grabbing nice, and yeah, I think we're ready to send this thing. So this is the routing for the rear brake cable right up through here and into our rear brake lever. Yeah, that's working nice. I'll give you guys a little demonstration on, you know, the brake working. This is all just the rear brake right now. So now that I've got that rear brake handle all set up, I think I'm gonna start working on getting this rear tail light strip set up on the scooter, on the jet ski. And I started powering up the wires a little bit, and the turn signals work great, they're sequential. But the running light and the brake light, I'm not a huge fan of because they're flashing a lot. And I think that's just gonna draw too much attention, and here in New York State, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. So I'm gonna use this for the turn signals, but for the running light and the brake light, I'm gonna have to do something else. So for the running light and the brake light, I have this roll of LED strips right here. See, we got all these little LEDs in here. Now I'm gonna cut a couple strips of this off, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to apply them to the back of this little grab bar here. I think I'm gonna put them right there, and that's gonna be a really nice spot with one on top, one on the bottom, one for brake light, one for running light. But before I put those LED strips on there, you can see this is really old and sun faded. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some sandpaper and I'm gonna kind of buff this up and make this look nice and new. All right, so I just sprayed that off with some soapy water, and it looks better, but it still kind of has this weird look to it. Now I'm gonna try something that I've seen before. People do this to like their Jeep Wrangler fenders that get sun faded. Take the torch, and it's gonna kind of melt that little bit of plastic, that outer layer, and it's gonna theoretically make it look better. So let's give it a shot, see if this works. That is crazy. That is sick. Man, look at that. I am so happy with how that turned out. That's my first time ever doing anything like that. Basically just heating up the plastic. Well, first getting all that dirt off, that old stuff, and then heat it up with the torch. And she's looking good. So next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get these LED strips ready, and then I'm gonna adhere them to this, probably drill a hole through the one side. That way I can route the wires into the scooter. And yeah, so we'll do that next. All right guys, so here's that rear piece with the LEDs installed now. I drilled a couple holes for the wires to go through the inside, and I heat shrink wrap those wires, and I've got the plugs now, and I'm just gonna pop this on here, show you guys how these lights are gonna work. All right, so I turn the key on, and we have the running light, and I hit the brake, and the brake light comes on. So that is going to be my fix for the tail light on the scootski. All right, so I've got the tail light all situated. Now, I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get the front headlight bar mounted on the front. Now, there's these threaded bolts right here that hold the front fairing on. I'm going to make a bracket that kind of holds this light, and we're going to mount that to the front like that. So let's make that bracket and get that on there. All right guys, so here's the template I have for the bracket for here. Now these little feet are gonna go down here and mount onto these metal pieces, and the light is gonna mount right in the middle, and the pieces with the X's are gonna get cut off, so let's go cut those off. Alright, so here's our finished headlight bracket. I drilled a couple holes in there, and I mounted the headlight with the little bracket that it came with. So what we're going to do now is mount this up on here. I'm gonna bolt those. I'm gonna put those bolts in there to adhere it to the front. Then we'll hook up the power and we'll see how bright this thing is. Alright, so I've got this thing hooked up to the high beam now. We'll turn the key on. Oh, that's sick. Yo, that thing's pretty bright too. That thing is super bright. Nice. Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. And it doesn't really get in the way. There's no interference with the plastic, so it's not going to get all scratched up. Dude, I'm super happy with that. Hell yeah. Nice score on this one. All right, just for the hell of it, it's dark. I turned the lights off. I want to see how bright this thing is now. Yo, sick. That is awesome. I just got to angle it down a little bit, I think. There we go. Perfect. Yo, and this is cool because like when I turn, the light goes with it too. Dude, this is going to be sick. Let's do it. Let's send it. So the next thing I was going to do was I was going to slap these rear turn signals onto the scootski, but the thing that I realized is that when I originally had these powered up and the turn signals were going sequentially, that was connected to a constant 12-volt battery source. Now with the turn signals on the scooter, when I turn the key on and hit the turn signal, we have that pulsating power. So it kind of, because it's not a constant power, the sequential LEDs don't really work and it kind of like glitches out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these LED strips up, and then I'm going to use a strip on the left for the left turn signal and a strip on the right for the right turn signal. I think these actually look pretty good. I think this looks better than that bigger, bulkier turn signal that I originally was gonna go with, because that's kind of really big. These are nice and sleek, kind of blends in with the same color of the jet ski too. And yeah, I think those are gonna work out really nice. I don't have power hooked up to it yet, but once I get the scooter back inside the jet ski, I can turn the turn signals on and we can really see how those are gonna look. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up today's video for the scooter jet ski build. I think in the next episode, I'm going to be able to hopefully get everything buttoned up and we'll take this thing out on its maiden voyage. So until then, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.